Hello, third graders. Today we are continuing on with our new unit on graphing, and today we're going to continue making bar graphs. So, our last lesson we started creating tape diagrams, and then we turned our tape diagrams, which usually go this way, right? We make a horizontal tape diagram, and then we turned them this way to have like the start of creating bar graphs. Today we're going to take data and we're actually going to put them on we're going to make bar graphs, real bar graphs today. So our I can statement today is I can create a bar graph and answer questions based on a bar graph. Okay, so we're really going to create a actual bar graph today. So if we take a look, so lesson 3 problem set first off, right? So make sure you have your lesson 3 problem set. Go ahead and put your name and date on there and show me when you're ready to go. All right, so number 1 says this table shows the number of students in each class, and we can see that there, right? And when we work on graphs, any kind of graph, it's important that we pay attention to the title because the title tells us what we're actually looking at in our graph. So it's the number of students in each class. And I'm looking, I don't have a highlighter right in front of me, but if you actually, yes, I do. Do you have a highlighter too? If you have a highlighter, you can highlight the title of the graph or you can just circle it because it's important. It tells us what we're actually graphing. Okay. So the title, what we're actually graphing on our bar graph is the number of students in each class. So we took the title from this data chart right here, and then we moved it down to our bar graph, okay? So if we look, here are the different classes that we have. So there's baking, sports, chorus, and drama. And then on this side, it's a number of students in each class. So the baking class has 9 students. The sports class has 16 students, chorus has 13 students, and the drama class has 18 students. Which one of those classes do you think you would like the best? I don't know. They all sound pretty good to me. So basically, your next job here is to take these numbers right here, and we're going to bring them down and to fill in our bar graph. So again, we have the title here, which is numbers of students in each class. On this side, we have the number of students. So this is like our key or our scale right here, which tells us how many students. So when we create our bars, these are our classes down below. So they already did baking for us. And we know here that baking has 9 students. So they had baking go all the way up to right between 8 and 9, or 8 and 10, because what comes between 8 and 10? 9. So 9 is halfway between 8 and 10. So they had the baking bar go all the way up to the halfway point between 8 and the 9. Okay. So our job is to graph sports, chorus, and drama. Okay. So we can highlight sports, chorus, and drama. This is our number of students. So if you're creating your own bar graph and you have your scale is basically like what your bars are like counting by, how much does each box represent. So we can see here that for baking, each box represents 2 because we're increasing by 2 each time. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8. This would be 10, but we're at 9, so we're halfway between the 8 and the 10. All right. So let's look here. Baking is done. So next we have the sports class. And there are 16 students in the sports class. So here is sports right here. So we want to make that bar go all the way up to 16. So I'm just going to kind of come up here, and then I'm going to put that line right there at the 16 so that I know that when I go up with my bar or down, since I'm already at that point right there, that's what I'm going to go to. And make sure, since baking is just 1 square wide, the sports bar is also going to be 1 square wide. And we'll keep 1 square as a space in between. So once you have that done, make sure that you're at the 16 because that's what our data chart tells us. So we're at the 16, and then you can just lightly shade in your bar. If you have a coloring pencil or a crayon, you could use that to shade it in lightly too. Okay, and then we can check off the sports. And the next class is chorus. Do you know what chorus is? So chorus is like a big group of kids that are singing together. Okay, pretty fun. So chorus has 13 kids. So we're going to go right above chorus here. I don't see chorus, or not chorus. I don't see a 13 on our scale though. Do you? So where would 13 go? Where would we put 13 on there? Since there's no 13 on our scale, where would 13 go? What two numbers would 13 be between? Did you say 12 and 14? Yes, right? Because we would have 12, 13, 14. So I'm just going to kind of put just a little mark right there to kind of help me. And then chorus is right here. So if I kind of take that and go across like that, or you could always use a piece of paper too, if that would be helpful. I just take a piece of paper like this, and I know that this is my 13 right there. I could use that to kind of help me if that's easier for you. And I want to make sure that I'm right above chorus here, and then I could use that piece of paper like that. If you can kind of trace it right across like that, though, that's fine too. All right. And then come down, stay on the lines, and then you can lightly shade it in. And then we have chorus. And you know, as always, if you need to pause your video to get it caught up, you can do that. I'm going to check off chorus. And why don't you go ahead and, I think it's, you don't need to pause your video, but go ahead and put drama on there yourself. So drama where it should go, and drama has 18 students. So graph drama on the bar graph for me. And as you do that, I'm going to do it too. So drama was a lot, we had the 18 already there, right? So we didn't need to go between any two. Make sure that it's one box wide, just as all our other bars. So all our bars should be the same width, and all of your bars, check right now, make sure you have one space between all of your bars. Which class has the most students? I'm going to check off the drama class too. Which has the most? So we should be able to look at our bar graph, and just by looking to see which one is the tallest, that would tell us which one has the most. And which one has the most? Drama, right? Drama has the most. Good. So now that we have all of our bars created based on our data chart, we're going to answer some questions. So the first one says, what is the value of each square in the bar graph? So what is the value of each square? So do you remember yesterday in our lesson, and I can actually turn back for you because I have it right here. This would be the value of each square, right? Each square equaled 4, okay? So when we think, now they're not, we didn't write in each individual one, but the scale on the side tells us how much each one is worth. So basically, what are we counting by here? We're counting by 2s, right? So this would be 2, 4, 6, 8, and this is a half of 1, so that would be 1, which gives us a total of 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, right? So each square is worth 2, okay? So basically, once we moved from writing the number inside the value of each square inside of each block to just putting it on the scale on the side. So the scale is really important because that tells us how much each one is worth, okay? So the value of each square in the bar graph is 2. Okay, and 2 what? 2 students, right? That's what we're talking about. So each block represents 2 students. All right. B says to write a number sentence to find how many total students are enrolled in classes. So is this each class, or would this be all the classes together? This would be all the classes together. So total means to do what? We would add, right? It's wanting us to add to find the total number of students enrolled in all the classes. And it says to write a number sentence. So usually a number sentence would be going horizontal, side to side, right? So basically what we're doing is we're going to take these numbers right up top, and then we're going to add them all together. So we're going to do 9 plus 16 plus 13 plus 18. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to make sure I have them all. Equals blank. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a lot to add up going from side to side. So I would say we use this space right here to kind of add it all together and do it vertically. Now, you could add two numbers at a time, or we could just do a big vertical chain. So I'm going to not do 9 yet. I'm going to put 9 at the bottom because it's just a single digit number. So I'm going to do 16 plus 13 plus 18 plus 9. 16, 13, 18, 9. 16, 13, 18, 9. So I'm just double checking to make sure I have everything right. So I'm looking here and I want to be sure that I start with my ones column and there's my tens column, right? So I would start adding in the ones column first. So oftentimes when I have like a big list of numbers like this, I want to see if I can make a 10, but I don't see that I can make a 10 here. But I do see that 6 plus 3 is 9. And then I could do 9 plus 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. And then I would just have this 8 left to add. So what would be 18 plus 8? Did you say 26? Good. So 6, and then we're going to carry the 2 up top, and we'll circle it so we don't forget it. And then we've got 2, 3, 4, 5. So my answer would be 56, right? Okay, so 9 plus 16 plus 13 plus 18 equals 56, okay? And it's 56 students. We won't write a whole sentence. We'll just give it a label. Okay, you okay with that? And there's no, you don't have to do what I did here. It made sense to me to add the 6 plus 3 to get 9. 9 plus 9, I did my doubles back was 18, and then I just added that 8 in there. You could do it a different way if you wanted to. You could say that I know another way to do it would be that 9 plus 8 is 17, and then 17 plus 3 is 20. 20 plus 6 is 26. That makes perfect sense too, because with these three numbers, I can get to a 10. So there's not only one right way to do that. You could have added two numbers at a time. I could have added 16 plus 13 and then 18 plus 9 and then taken the totals from both and put them together. So there are a whole bunch of different ways that you could solve that, not just one. So there's no right or wrong for that. That's just what I did. Alrighty. So let's move on to C. And C says how many, I'm going to get my highlighter here. How many fewer students are in sports than in chorus and baking combined? Write a number sentence to show your thinking. There's a lot of stuff in here, okay? So if you don't have a highlighter, I would suggest grabbing one because we're back to pulling out those clue words, right? So we really want to pay attention to those. So first of all, how many fewer? What does how many fewer tell us that we're going to do? Fewer means less, right? It's going down. So how many fewer? So what operation am I going to be doing if it says how many fewer? I'm going to subtract, right? How many fewer? So let's put a minus sign under that to remind ourselves that we're going to subtract there. So how many fewer students are in sports than in chorus and baking combined? What does it mean to combine? If I combine, that means I put stuff together. So if I think I have chorus and baking and I'm combining them. So what am I going to do with my data from chorus and baking? I'm combining it. I'm going to add. So on top of the and, so chorus, or I'll put it underneath it, chorus and baking combined. So that means I'm going to add my data from chorus and baking. Okay. So let's see here. So how many students were in sports? So I'm going to go up to my chart up here and I had 16 students in the sports class. So then right under sports, I'm going to put 16 just to kind of help keep everything organized. How many students were in chorus? 13. So I'm going to put 13 under chorus. And then I already put my plus sign under the and. So then the other one would be baking, which had 9 students in baking. I think more would be in baking. That would be fun. I think it would be fun to have a baking class. Yeah. Okay. So how many fewer students were in sports than in chorus and baking combined? Write a number sentence to show your thinking. All right. So sports had 16, and then chorus and baking combined. Well, we need to know, what is 13 plus 9? What do you think? Maybe you want to put it vertical? So let me stick it over here. So 13 plus 9. Go ahead and do this with me, okay? And why don't you pause your video and then solve 13 plus 9. All right, how'd we do? So 3 plus 9 is 12, right? So 2 carry the 1. I'm going to circle it so don't forget it. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. So chorus and baking combined is 22, okay? So how many fewer students are in sports than in chorus and baking combined? So sports is 16, chorus and baking is 22. What am I going to do with these two numbers now? I'm going to subtract them, right? Because we already said how many fewer means to subtract. So we're going to do 22 minus 16 equals blank. And then you could do mental math, or we could write it out. Let's write it out just to practice because we haven't done subtraction in a while. 22 minus 16. So we can practice our borrowing and carrying. They don't give us much room here to work, do they? 2 minus 6. You can't do it, right? So we can't do it. So we go to the tens place. We're going to borrow. We cross out the 2, make it a 1, and this 2 becomes a 12. Okay, so then we have 12 minus 6, which is 6, and 1 minus 1 is 0, and I don't need to put that. So that means that 22 minus 16 equals 6. Okay, so again, our question is how many fewer students are in sports than in chorus and baking combined? So we don't have much room. There are 6 fewer students. Squeeze that in there. There are 6 fewer students. So we want to write a complete sentence. So make sure your sentence begins with a capital letter and ends with a period. All right. When you're all set with that, you can go ahead and flip your packet over. Okay. And if you need to pause it to finish your sentence, you can do that. All righty. On the back, it says this bar graph shows Kyle's savings from February to June. His savings from February to June. Use a straight edge to help you read your graph. So that just means, remember on the other one where I used a piece of paper to kind of help. So you could grab just any piece of paper that you have to kind of help use as a straight edge. Okay. Or if you have a ruler, that definitely works too. So let's look here. Our title of our graph is Kyle's savings. So we'll highlight that. On the side, highlight the key. So we have 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. What are we counting by? We're counting by 5s, right? So we're counting by 5s. So that means that each square represents 5. Okay. Each square in this one represents 5. Our last one, each square represented 2. So our scale is counting by 5s. On the bottom, we have all the different months from February all the way up to June. And these numbers on the side represent the amount in dollars. All right. So let's go to our questions. How much money did Kyle save in May? Well, here's May. And if I look, here's where you can use your straight edge, your piece of paper, or your ruler. So I'm going to put it on top so I can still see that it's May. And if I look, if I line it right up with May right there at the very top of May, I've got 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Do you see that when you go up? Or maybe you can see if you are just right here and you go all the way across that we're one under 35. So that would be 34. And it's money. So it would be dollars. And remember, the dollar sign goes in front of the number. So it's $34. Okay. Part B says, in which months, so this is more than one, did Kyle save less than $35? So here's 35 right here. So maybe take your highlighter or your pencil and just darken that line for 35. And then basically if we want to know which months did he save less than 35? We can just name every month where the bar is less than 35. So that's why it's kind of helpful to highlight across like that. So February definitely, right? Because February had 30. So Feb, make sure it has capital letters. February. So when we say February, we don't really hear that R in there, but it's when you spell it, think February. What about March? Was March less than 35? How about April? Yes, April is less than 35. So capital A, P-R-I-L. And then how about May? Is May less than $35? Yes, May we just did was $34. So capital M-A-Y. And then was June less than $35? No, June is above that mark, right? Good. How much more money did Kyle save in June than April? Write a number sentence to show your thinking. So how much more? Take your highlighter. How much more is a clue word telling us that we're going to do what? How much more did he save in June than in April? We're going to subtract. How much more tells us to subtract, and it wants us to write a number sentence to show our thinking. So June and April. So here's June. June is right on the line. So June is, did you get 40? Yeah. So June is 40. So I'm going to write 40 right under June. And then how much did Kyle save in April? So here's April. So you could go straight across or grab your piece of paper or your ruler. And there's April right there. So that definitely does help to kind of make it a little bit easier to see. So here's April. So I'm at 20, 21, 22. I think 23. Do you agree? Good. So April's 23. Okay. And how much more did he save in June than April? So what am I going to do with this 40 and the 23? I'm going to subtract, right? Because it says how much more. So write a number sentence. We're going to do 40 minus 23 equals blank. And we could use mental math, or I would suggest let's write it right here. Again, to practice our subtraction because we haven't done it in a while. So 40 minus 23. Can we do 0 minus 3? So I cross out the 4 and make it a 3, and the 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. Good job. 3 minus 2 is 1. So it equals 17, and it's dollars, right? So put the dollar sign in front. So $17. Alrighty. Let's cross out D because we don't really have any room. He did not do a good job at all of giving us much room. Complete the table below to show the same data given in the bar graph in problem 2. So basically, we're just going to take everything from here and we're going to plug it in down here. So we have our months here. So let's finish filling in our months. So February, March, April, May, taking it from right here, and June. You need to pause to finish filling those in, you can. And why don't you pause anyway? So pause your video and fill in the money amounts for each month. So for example, like February, we already knew that February had 30, so I'm going to put $30 in for February. Okay, so pause your video and then finish filling in for each one of those months. Okay, and then unpause when you're done. Alrighty, let's see. So for March, March is right up here, and it is looks to be 1 above the 45, right? So that would be $46 for March. April, we had already found that April had 23. So there's 23 for April. May, I feel like we already did May. We found out May too had $34. And then June had exactly $40. There we go. How did you do? Good job. All right, so that's it for today. So today we created bar graphs, and then we definitely practice answering questions based on the data that we plotted in our bar graphs. Okay, good work today with our graphing, and I will see you tomorrow for some more graphing.